The Oklahoma Sooners are on the verge of making their defense better in the future. We'll discuss a 2026 recruiting prediction coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners on Monday received a recruiting prediction for an up-and-coming defensive tackle out of Jacksonville, Florida, Duval. One Brian Harris. Steve Wiltfong of On3 dropped the Fong bomb, predicting the Oklahoma Sooners to land a commitment from Brian Harris, Jay.
Yeah, and his commitment is coming up on May 23rd, so we'll be preparing ourselves for that if something comes down. But he was committed to Maryland and then stepped off of that, and everybody's been after him. And the kid, he's got some size, 6'4", 290 right now. That's a nice size kid coming out of high school. He's going to easily surpass 300 pounds by the time he gets, becomes an early enrollee potentially in December. And that's going to give Oklahoma a nice big interior dude that we hope can pan out into something special long term, maybe into another Jaden Jackson or Grayson Halton type situation, or heck, a Marcus Strong, which I love Marcus Strong out of Florida. Care what nobody says. Oklahoma needs to win more guys like this, especially at 6'4" and 290. You want to get more guys in the 6'4", 6'5" range, in the 300, the 320 range on a consistent basis. That way you can start building up an actual interior defense that's going to be terrifying to other teams in college football. So if Oklahoma can win this one on May 23rd, if the Fong bomb is accurate, it's going to be a huge win.
Yeah, Jay, so I went and asked our guy, Brian Smith of The Portal, Locked On's recruiting expert, what he thought of one Brian Harris, because Brian is very, very familiar, not just with the recruiting landscape, but also the Florida recruiting scene. And this is what he had to say about Brian Harris. Very dedicated. He's jacked. He's taken his game up another level in less than a year. A great guy, too. Brian Harris wasn't a big name last fall and really started to gain momentum. Again, he's put in the work and made it happen. That's music to my ears right there. A dude that was flying under the radar this time a year ago, last fall. Nobody had really been talking about him. Does it sound like a Ryan Foje situation a little bit? And put together some really, really good tape, put together some really, really good film, worked on his body, did all the work off the field. And now, I mean, he's got a lot of really impressive offers. Alabama, Penn State, Ole Miss, Auburn. This is a dude that is gaining a lot of buzz, and it's going to only continue because you don't find many 6'4", 290 guys that move the way that he moves. Like, he's playing not only defensive tackle for his Mandarin high school, he's playing defensive end too, in 4-man fronts, not just in 3-man fronts, in 4-man fronts. And not only is he winning with his strength and power, but he's winning around the corner with his length and his athleticism. The dude moves incredibly well for his size and his athleticism, but he's not just an athletic guy. He plays with the kind of tenacity and demeanor that you want out of a defensive tackle. He's looking to get physical against the run. He's looking to put the quarterback in the dirt, not just sack him, not just tackle him. No, he wants to get physical, and he plays violent. And again, I'm excited and stoked about this kid. Hopefully Oklahoma is able to get him to signing day and get that signature and first of all, get that commitment. The Fong bomb's not always a guarantee, but get that commitment and get to signing, because he's one of those guys that I feel like could have a Jaden Jackson like true freshman campaign where he is an instant impact contributor.
Yeah, and I'm curious about his OVs and how that's going to happen, or if he's going to go ahead and start canceling all of them before he after he makes his decision on where he wants to play. I know that on 247 he's not really, they don't have him as a warm there yet, but with Fong dropping it on 3, it makes me feel like he's probably going to clean up a lot of those visits, or he's not going to take any visits at all. But you're right. The one thing that jumped out to me the most about him is he's a violent player, and he can be moved around. He's pretty versatile. So if he's athletic enough to put on that additional weight and still be able to play edge or whatnot while also playing the interior, that's a massive pickup for what the Sooners are going to be trying to do going forward. That it adds the versatility adds a good young player that can play hopefully next to like a Trent Wilson next year, because I expect Trent to be a monster for this team in the 2026 season.
Yeah, and I think about the way that Oklahoma can use a guy like him and a guy like David Stone, who is also equally athletic, but also physical and has good size.
Yep.
Brent Venables likes to run some three-man fronts. He doesn't do it maybe as much as a Zach Alley did, but he will deploy a three-man front on you. And if you can do that with Jaden Jackson at the nose, and then, a year or two from now, you have David Stone and a guy like Brian Harris or a Trent Wilson or a Nigel Smith playing that other defensive end spot in a three-man front, that creates a lot of really interesting possibilities. But the fact that he's able to play inside and out, it does give them some versatility, but it's just another one of those defensive tackle types that is going to be an impactful player. And you can look at the 3-star status. It's fine. I project by the end of his high school career, he'll be a blue chip player. He's got blue chip type offers. He's got the blue chip type talent. He's going to continue to rise before we even get to the early signing period. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if before the high school senior season starts, when the recruiting rankings do all their updates and whatnot, it wouldn't surprise me to see him jump up to a 4-star because the tape is that good.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And looking at the offer sheet from Michigan to Penn State to Auburn to Alabama to Ole Miss to South Carolina, Oklahoma, Mississippi State. I mean, you can tell that, yeah, he got all the real offers, the really good offers, the ones where the teams would love to have him. Can't beat that. So I expect him as well to slide up a lot higher in his industry ranking with everybody as the tape continues to roll. And honestly, I know that everyone believes that there's some sort of CEO conspiracy against Oklahoma when it comes to their recruits or whatnot. But truth be told, when Oklahoma offers, a lot of players do rise up a lot more than where they were before. You'll see that a lot more than you see players drop. Typically, some players drop just because they stop camping. And so at that point, it just is what it is. If you're not really camping, it's kind of hard to evaluate you and make sure you're still making the same strides. But because Oklahoma gets the offer out there, it's one of the reasons why you saw with Fogier, he started flying up. As soon as Oklahoma got him to commit, you started seeing a whole bunch of other schools say, okay, what does Bill Beatonbow see in this kid? Oh, I see what Beatonbow see in this kid. Let's offer him. You started to see the offers just flowing, right? Like a waterfall. And so it was an understanding that what Bill Beatonbow is looking for. A lot of other schools want similar players like that. They're like, no, we want versatile guys because we know Bill Beatonbow puts dudes in the NFL. And so with that being the case, you're going to see probably like this Brian Harris go up in the rankings because Oklahoma offered him. And if he commits to Oklahoma, you will possibly see him move up a lot. He'll probably fly up the charts a lot faster. Now, I could totally see him kind of teetering back some from the initial jumps, but I expect after the summer, depending on where he commits, he's going to probably jump up all the rankings before his senior season starts.
Yeah, he's one of those easy evals. Like you watch the highlights, you watch some of the film, and it's pretty easy to see why a program like Oklahoma would want this kid, why programs like Alabama and Penn State would want this kid, because he's one of those truly potential game wreckers.
Yeah.
They're really, really hard to come by along the interior defensive line. And with the potential that the SEC might move to 9 games, you got to have more of these guys than ever. Let's discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.